श्रीभगवानुवाच अनाश्रितः कर्मफलं कार्यं कर्म करोति यः स सन्न्यासी च योगी च न निरग्निर्न चाक्रियः. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. Yam sannyāsamiti prahu yogam tam vidhi pandava na ya sannyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. What is called renunciation you should know to be the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme. O son of Pandu, for one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. Arurukshormuneryogam karma karanamuchyate yogarudasya tasyeva shamaha karanamuchyate. For one who is a neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, work is said to be the means, and for one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. Yada hinendriyarthesu na karma svanusajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yogarudastadochyate. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. Uddharedatmanatmanam natmanam vasadayet atmeva yatmano bandhur atmeva ripuratmana. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. Bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmevatmana jitah anatmanastu satrutve vartetatmeva satruvat. For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. Jitatmanha prasantasya paramatma samahitaha sitoshna sukha dukkhesu tatha manapamanayo. For one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. Jnana vijnana truptatma kutastho vijitendriya yukta ityuchate yogi samaloshtrasma kanchana. A person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones or gold, as the same. Suranmitrayurdasena madhyastha dveshya bandhusu साधु स्वपि च पापेषु समबुद्धिरविशिष्यते. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral mediators, the envious, friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with an equal mind. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi sthita ekaki yat chittatma nirashir parigraha. A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a scheduled place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. Sucho dese pratisthapya स्थिरमासन्मात्मनः नात्युच्छ्रितं नाति नीचं चैलाजिना कुशोत्तरम् तत्रैकाग्रं मनः कृत्वा यत चित्तेन्द्रियक्रिया उपविश्यासने युञ्ज्यात् योगमात्मविशुद्धये. To practice yoga, one should go to a scheduled place and should lay kushagras on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses and activities and fixing the mind on one point. Samam kaya shiro grivam dharayannachalam sthira sampreksha nasikagram swam disaschanavalokayan prashantatma vigatabhiha brahmachari vrate sthitah manah संयम्य yukta asita matparha. One should hold one's body, neck and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyatamanasah santim nirvana paramam matasansthamadhigacchati. Thus, practicing constant control of the body, mind and activities, the mystic transcendentalist, his mind regulated, attains to the kingdom of God or the abode of Krishna by cessation of material existence. Natyasnatastu yogosti na chaikanta manasnatah na chati swapnasilasya jagrato naiva charjuna. There is no possibility of one's becoming a yogi, O Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukhaha. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Yada viniyatam chittam atmanyevavatishthate निष्परः सर्वकामेभ्यो युक्त इत्युच्यते तदा. When the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires, he is said to be well established in yoga. यथा दीपो निवातस्थो नेङ्गते सोपमा स्मृता योगिनो यत चित्तस्य युञ्जतो योगमात्मनः. As a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist, whose mind is controlled, remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendent self. Yatro paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chevatmanatmanam पश्यन्ननात्मनि तुष्यति. सुखमात्यन्तिकं यतता बुद्धिकायमतीन्द्रियं वेत्ति यत्र न चैवायं स्थितश्चलति तत्त्वतः. यं लब्ध्वा चापरं लाभं मन्यते नाधिकं ततः. यस्मिन् स्थितो न दुःखेन गुरुणापि विचाल्यते तं विद्याद दुःख संयोग वियोगं योगसंज्ञितम्. In the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. स निश्चयेन योक्तव्यो योगो निर्विण्णचेतसा सङ्कल्पप्रभवान् कामान् त्यक्त्वा सर्वान् शेषतः मनसैवेन्द्रियग्रामं विनियम्य समन्ततः. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon, without exception, all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. शनैः शनैरुपरमेद् बुद्धया धृतिगृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. यतो यतो निश्चलति मनः चञ्चलं स्थिरं ततस्ततो नियम्येतत् आत्मन्येव वशं नयेत्. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. प्रशान्तमनसं येनं योगिनं सुखमुत्तमम् उपैति शान्तरजसं ब्रह्मभूतं कल्मषम्. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to the past deeds. Yunjanevam sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmasha sukhena brahma sansparsham atyantam sukham shnute. Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. Sarvabhutastamatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani Ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshana. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam च मयि पश्यति तस्याहं न प्रणश्यामि स च मे न प्रणश्यति. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. सर्वभूतस्थितं यो मां भजत्येकत्वमास्थितः सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि स योगी मयि वर्तते. Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the Super Soul, knowing that I and the Super Soul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. आत्मापम्येन सर्वत्र समं पश्यति अर्जुन सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखं स योगी परमो मतः. He is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress. O Arjuna, Arjuna Vach, Yoyam Yogastya Proktaha Samyena Madhusudan Etasyaham na pashyami Chanchalatvat sthitam sthiram. Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balavad dradham tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva suduskaram. For the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Sri Bhagwan Vach, Ashanshayam Mahabaho, Mano Durnigraham Chalam, Abhyasena tu Kaunteya, Vairagyena cha Gruhyate. Lord Shri Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. असंशयात्मना योगो दुष्प्राप इति मे मतिः वश्यात्मना तु यतता शक्यो वाक्तुमुपायतः. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That is my opinion. Arjun Uvaj Ayatiha Shraddhayopeto Yogacha Chalita Manasa Aprapya Yoga Sansiddhim Kam Gatim Krishna Gacchati. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who, in the beginning, takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism? Kachino bhaya vibrashtaha छिन्ना भ्रमिव नश्यति अप्रतिष्ठो महाबाहो विमूढ़ो ब्रह्मणः पथि. Almighty Arm Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a raven cloud with no position in any sphere? एतन्मे संशयं कृष्ण चेत्तु मर्हस्य शेषतः त्वदन्यः संशयस्यास्य चेत्ता न युपपद्यते. This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. Shri Bhagwan Uvaj Partha Naiveha Namutra Vinasastasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Krit Kaschid Durgatim Tata Gacchati. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Son of Pritha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. Prapya punya kritam lokam ushitva shashvati samaha suchinam shrimatam gehe yoga bhrashto bhijayate. The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. अथवा योगिनमेव कुले भवति धीमताम् एतद्धि दुर्लभतरम् लोके जन्म यदीदृशम्. Or, if unsuccessful, after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly, such a birth is rare in this world. Tatra tam buddhi sayyogam labhate parvadehikam yatate cha tato bhuyah sansidho kurunandana. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success. O son of Kuru, पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते यवसोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते. By virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. प्रयत्नाद्यत्तमानस्तु योगी संशुद्धकिल्बिषः अनेकजन्म संसिद्ध ततो याति परां गतिम्. And when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all contaminations, then ultimately achieving perfection after many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. तपस्वीभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानीभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद्योगी भवार्जुन. A yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruity worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां स मे युक्ततमो मतः. And of all yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, he is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion.